welcome to Something Witchy, a Sabrina the Teenage Witch rewatch podcast. I'm Laura Cotter.
And I'm Sky Orchard.
And we have a treat for you today. I was going to say special treat, but I'm like, is this special?
This podcast is the special treat.
We are the treat. We're just going to have to get into it because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this episode. But anything interesting happened to you this week, Sky?
I don't think so. I think that it is the time where it becomes very apparent in my voice whether I've gotten a full night's sleep. And it mainly is not the case. It is 4 to 5 hours of sleep time. So if I'm wacky, it's because of that.
I think that's the case for both of us. I've just had a lot going on, but I've also had some really weird, every night I've had a very weird, very vivid dream. And ranging from things like I'm trying to get my niece to eat something to solving a murder mystery in space.
Oh.
Weird. And I think I need to start dream journaling when I wake up in the morning. And I have really restless nights because I wake in and out of these dreams. But I did get to write a Zamboni this week.
Oh yeah, you did write a Zamboni. And you got your birthday present.
And I got my birthday present. I'm not gonna wait until this episode comes out. I'll post about it on the socials before then. But then you can see how far ahead we actually made it, guys. Go back and look at our social media and see when I post about the gifts Sky gave me. But yeah, it was fun. It was a very long ride on that Zamboni for a very small crowd of people to be staring at me. Oh boy. Okay. I can't really think of a question for this one. I guess my question would be, would you kiss a pigeon on the off chance that it was someone you loved? How many pigeons would you kiss to try and find Jill?
How germy are pigeons?
I don't think they're clean. Especially this past summer with the bird flu epidemic. You don't want to be kissing those pigeons.
Pigeons carry bacteria and fungi, shocking, pose a rare disease risk to most people, not shocking. Oh, Quora, I like this. Are pigeons any dirtier or disease-bearing than other birds? Answer, no, pigeons are not dirty disease carriers. It is an old husband's tale that they are flying rats, filthy disease, and parasite distributors. I have never heard a pigeon referred to as a flying rat.
Oh, I have. But also that definitely sounds like a pigeon wrote that. That's a little pigeon pecking at the keyboard being like, no, we are completely clean. Please hand feed us your French fries.
I sort of like pigeons, so maybe I'd kiss a pigeon. I don't know if I'd kiss as many pigeons as Gwen.
How many? What's your number? Jill's not going to listen to this for years, so you're good.
17.
I was going to say 3.
Oh.
If the person I love doesn't come and peck me by the time I'm on my third bird, sorry, they're just stuck.
That boy had a chance to really make that process a lot quicker.
Especially because we know he was conscious later on. He wasn't birdie brained.
Only slightly. He does call the pigeons his close friends.
So we are recapping the TV movie Sabrina Goes to Rome. Now, this aired after a couple episodes of season 3 have aired. However, it was produced between seasons 2 and 3. So I figured this is the best time to do it. Or it's a time to do it. I could not find a TV guide description or a tagline for this movie anywhere. I can read what IMDb says. So the IMDb description is, if Sabrina cannot open a mysterious antique gold locket and release the power trapped within, her Aunt Sophia will be lost forever. The secret to the locket lies in Rome, her father says. Okay, that's a description. It originally aired October 4th, 1998.
The winning lotto numbers on this day for Massachusetts were 8202, because the YouTube recording I watched had that on the screen for a full minute before it proceeded with the programming.
Does that not feel like enough numbers?
No, it doesn't, but...
I mean, 4 numbers in Massachusetts in the late 90s. How the old telephones used to be give me number 2. Our director is Tibor Takacs, who's returning from an episode in season 2, as well as the Sabrina movie. The writer is Dan Berenson. He also wrote Camp Rock 2, Twitches 2, the Hannah Montana movie, and Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time, which is not as bad as one might expect. It's actually a pretty decent Cinderella sequel. Cinderella 2 is bad. Cinderella 3 is okay. Our stars, we have Melissa Joan Hart as Sabrina/Sophie, according to IMDb, but everywhere else they call her Sophia. So the first part of my notes are going to be Sophie, and then I'm going to realize that they're saying Sophia all the time, and I'm going to switch it up. Then we have Eddie Mills as Paul, who is Sabrina's husband, or Melissa's husband, in Killing the Competition.
Wow.
They love playing a good love interest couple. Then we have Tara Strong as Gwen. She is a very popular voice actor. You might recognize her voice from Powerpuff Girls, Gabby's Dollhouse, Loki, Despicable Me 4, My Little Pony, a bunch of DC and Marvel stuff, and Kim Possible. James Fields is Travis. He's the boyfriend that's been in a few episodes, mostly in season 1, and I believe their relationship is almost over with at this point, if not over with. Eric Alexander as Alberto. Mostly he did Italian stuff, but he also was in House of Gucci, as well as I Am the Abyss, Finally Dawn, and Perfect Match. Nick Bakay, obviously, we know as Salem Saberhagen. Evelyn Furtok as Mrs. Guadagno, and she was Princess Isis in the Troll Bride episode. Patrick Dreykus as Lorenzo. He mostly works in casting, but he was in a film called Mansquito.
Sold. Say no more.
What do you think that's rated? What do you think that IMDb rating is? Like 2?
Yeah, it's like a D movie.
Should we take a bet? I'll look it up. Place your bets for what you think the rating is, IMDb. I'm going to go with a 2.1.
3.
Mansquito. A 3.8.
Whoa, okay.
Hey, it's also directed by this same director, the Tibor Cox.
Oh.
That's a bit of a left turn from Sabrina Goes to Rome.
What's the tagline?
A scientist and her subject turn into mutant insects.
So sort of like The Fly.
That poster is going to be in tonight's Vivid Dream. We have Robert Steiner as Roberto from The Prince of Dinosaurs, Ferrari, The Puffins, Arctic Games, and The Puffins and the Magic Portal. Francesco Mazzini as Mercutio from Mr. Rodolfo's Last Jubilee, Last Letters from Monte Rosa, The Fallen, and The Mind of Henry Lime. Richard Horvitz as Stonehenge, the voice of Stonehenge, which I'm just now realizing is the name of the guinea pig.
I was about to say, when did we see Stonehenge in England speaking?
I swear they called it Snowball at some point.
I just thought it was called guinea pig and it didn't get a name.
That's why I kept writing guinea pigs. I was like, I don't know this thing's name. And I thought we were actually going to get Stonehenge. And I kept waiting. I'm like, when are we going to England? And then I thought it was the credits of the heads that she turns into the statues. Like literally, I started these notes last night, finished them today. It's been 4 hours since I finished them, and I'm just now putting this together. Anyway, also did voices in The Angry Beavers, Hell of a Boss, Power Rangers, The Loud House, and a lot of other Nickelodeon shows. We have no credits for the statue heads or for David. And David, I think, had more lines than Mercutio did.
Yeah, I don't even remember who Mercutio is.
He's the scummy ancient friend.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, Sky, what are your thoughts?
I miss 90s commercials. Like, if I have to watch commercials, can they just be 90s-esque? We lost something. We lost part of our soul somewhere along the way. I think this has just given me more questions than answers. Very shocking, I know, for Sabrina the Teenage Witch. We've never had this.
Nothing but answers.
Is this considered canon?
I don't think it can be. I think this has to be an alternate universe Sabrina. That is the only way I can accept anything in this.
Yeah, because the fact it comes out in like October, season 3 would have theoretically premiered in September. So like you said, only a couple episodes into season 3. It's like Harvey who? Dashiell who? Ants who? Because here's a new ant that I don't think we're ever going to see again. And is the ant dead or alive or a magical force? Like, I'm so confused.
Also, I feel like telling her about this ant would have been helpful back in the Sabrina's First Kiss episode.
Oh, 100%.
This would have been a good lesson to give her back then. Like, hey, it's okay if you want to date a mortal, but like, we have an ant that disappeared into a locket for 400 years. Like, it's wild. I have so many issues. Like, there wasn't even like talk of like witches license. Like, now we're just doing magic left, right, and center. And all of a sudden, Sabrina's good at magic and is like better than other witches.
Salem's allowed to leave the country without Hilda, who's supposedly his jailkeeper.
Seriously, it's wild. Let me see exactly which episode, because I saw the advertisement for the next Sabrina that was going to come up. Okay, so we're 2 episodes into season 3 at this point, which is not a lot. No mention of Dashiell or the big drama at the end.
Like, that's a quick rebound from both of them.
I'm like, so not only do we have two boys back home we're still deciding on, but we're going to have a summer fling with an Italian boy for 2 weeks. It has to be a standalone. It has to be its own thing that happens in an alternate universe that we just... Maybe she went for spring break before her and Harvey got back together before Dashiell showed up. Maybe this is spring break in Rome, and for some reason she has 2 weeks of spring break.
Maybe. She's good at magic for 2 weeks. It's that Italian water.
And she doesn't have quizzes from Quizmaster for 2 weeks for whatever reason. It is completely separate from the rest of everything we've done so far.
Alternate, this is just a moment of psychosis in Sabrina's head if we continue the Sabrina's crazy narrative.
Definitely looking more and more like a plausible scenario. The other thing, now granted, this was probably recorded off of network television onto a VHS that was then digitized, which was then uploaded to YouTube. I'm not expecting it to be like pristine quality, but something about the dialogue, a lot of the dialogue scenes sounded like they were like the sound sounded like it was coming from somewhere behind me and the picture was on the screen, but like the music part sounded fine. It synced up. Something about the dialogue in some parts got really weird. Did you notice that at all?
I'm assuming you were watching Rev the Ripper's upload?
I think so, yeah.
I did not notice that, but interesting.
Could not find this anywhere but YouTube. A couple different versions with different, I think, commercials in them, depending on where they were they were recorded. So choose wherever you want, but YouTube is where you're gonna have to watch this. If we can sell it to you, if you're listening to this episode, you're like, yeah, I need to go watch that for myself. All right, let's get into it because I'll have even more thoughts as we go. Sabrina is reading a letter in a cab about a locket that her dad needs her help unlocking. Which, again, her dad is 600 years old. He's a powerful witch wizard. He works for the Witches' Council, but he needs his teenage daughter to go solve this mystery. Okay.
He's only allowed out of the confines of his book once a year.
She has traveled to Rome to figure out how to unlock it.
We find out that the locket has been locked for 400 years, so that would put us in Rome 1598 as far as when things went down. In that year, Rome experienced one of the worst Tiber River floods, and it covered most of the city on December 24th and December 25th.
Merry Christmas. Here's some water.
Ho, ho, ho.
The driver of the cab is a little wild, and Sabrina slams into Salem, who's stowed away. The driver is still driving crazy, and Sabrina uses her magic to help avoid crashes.
The special effects for Sabrina's magic in this scene are reminded me of Space Jam as far as like the car suddenly turns cartoony and like the stretchy look of it. Nostalgic Space Jam effects for all y'all to picture in your heads.
She's very loosey-goosey about just letting the magic fly. Our song throughout all this intro is Sky Fits Heaven by Madonna. Sabrina arrives at a house and someone waves down to her from a window. It's Signora Guadagno. She brings Sabrina inside and shows her to a room, startling her roommate, Gwen. But Sabrina can't have a roommate. Signora Guadagno doesn't care and leaves. Sabrina introduces herself to the quirky Gwen. Gwen sees Salem and shows that she has a pet guinea pig. Salem starts talking, and Sabrina coughs to cover it, then takes him to the bathroom to yell at him.
I'd like to roll her friend in breadcrumbs and dip him in marinara, Salem says about the guinea pig.
AKA Stonehenge, maybe?
Maybe.
Snowball? I don't know. It's going to be guinea pig from here on out.
Yep.
Sabrina checks herself in the mirror and starts hiccuping, causing items to float. Sabrina keeps accidentally levitating items back in the bedroom and tries to hold things down without Gwen noticing. Gwen goes into the bathroom to get some water, and Sabrina attempts to magically lock her in. Gwen bursts out, startling Sabrina and stopping everything from floating. Gwen saw everything floating, but is interrupted by Salem and the guinea pig yelling at each other. Sabrina calls Gwen a witch, and Gwen douses them in cold water. Sabrina uses her magic to dry them off. Gwen is shocked. Sabrina is excited. She's never met a witch that lives in this realm before, except for Dashiell, whom she's very much having feelings for and maybe considering being with back home.
It's the Italian realm.
Did anybody involved with this movie watch an episode of Sabrina before they did this?
I think the director should know.
He directed something in season 2. He should know. Whatever. Senora, I'm just going to start calling her Senora G. Senora G tells both girls that she takes in witches from time to time at dinner. Her family lost their powers, but they'll get them back when her son marries a witch. And she introduces Sabrina to Alberto.
Like, that's a cool story that we're not going to hear about.
Don't ever come back to that ever again. So, okay. Sabrina shows Gwen the locket that she has to open in the next 2 weeks. It belonged to her dad's sister, Sophie, who disappeared 400 years ago. And we've already talked about this is just another aunt that no one has mentioned. And also it's Sophia. I know that now. My notes say Sophie. Senora G says Sophia was banished because she fell in love with a mortal artist. She told him she was a witch and he betrayed her, which means she was cast out and lost her powers because she chose not to turn him into stone within 12 hours.
So for her artist lover, 400 years ago, Renaissance art was in a transition phase where it was a period of late Mannerist going into early Baroque being the predominant art styles. Mannerist art was idealized forms, whereas Baroque was greater drama, emotion, and movement.
Sabrina and Gwen are talking about the story that night in their bedroom. Sabrina studies the locket with her magic book while Gwen eats jelly beans. And we get a weird joke about British teeth from Gwen.
They never explain the jelly beans either.
Nope. And it is super annoying. My question was going to be, on a scale of Valerie to Jenny, where do you rate Gwen?
Honestly, higher than Valerie.
Oh, okay. I feel like she takes like the worst parts of Valerie's personality and then tries to be quirky on top of it. Sabrina is trying to think of all the places she needs to go. She can't have any distractions.
I can only think of one. Everything, says Gwen helpfully.
Sabrina and Gwen are in the city the next day at the Trevi Fountain. They both make a wish.
An average of 3,000 euros are thrown into the Trevi Fountain every day, with all the money thrown in being donated to charity. It is illegal, obviously, to attempt to steal the money from the fountain, but people sure do try. It is purported that to receive your wish, you must have your back to the fountain and throw with your right hand over your left shoulder.
I don't think they did that, which would explain their wishes not coming true.
Sabrina and Gwen are actually good at doing it. Paul does not do it the correct way, ever.
Sabrina stares at the locket in disappointment, but then is startled by a vision of a woman who looks a lot like her in Renaissance dress in the water. Sabrina bumps into a handsome stranger when getting up. Alberto comes to her rescue, and Sabrina says goodbye to the hottie. Gwen is mad because Sabrina stole her wish, which I thought was about the hottie, but I come to find out it's because Alberto's paying attention to her. We then see Hottie taking sneaky pictures of Sabrina while a guy with food in his goatee comes up to him and asks who he's watching. Hottie says Sabrina won't know what hit her. Gwen and Alberto and Sabrina are in an art museum and split up to look for clues to the locket. Sabrina zaps herself into a statue. Gwen tries the same but ends up bringing a different statue of David to life.
It must have been a lot warmer back then because nobody kept their clothes on, chimes in Gwen.
Oh, Gwen. I know I wanted Sabrina to have more friends, but not like this.
Be careful what you wish for.
Sabrina is by herself when she bumps into the hottie again. He says she forgot to ask him his name at the fountain and introduces himself as Paul, and his skeevy friend shows up and introduces himself as Travis. Gwen shows up to grab Sabrina to help with her statue issue, and Sabrina runs off to help, shouting her address to Paul. As you do when you're in a foreign country and you meet a dude, and the first thing you say is, "Hey, here's the place I stay," and there's no security, and there's just a woman there that's I'm staying with, and sure, here's my address. Come by anytime. Okay. Gwen and Sabrina find David, and Gwen brings more statues to life before Sabrina fixes them again. They run off to return David when Travis comes in and inspects the statues. Sabrina gets David back where he belongs and zaps him before running off with Gwen. Paul comes in and looks at the statue, confused. We get a commercial for the Sabrina crystal ball and the Sabrina psychic phone, which tells you when somebody's calling you, and it's definitely not just the first ring. Also, I will say, somebody pointed out earlier in season 2, Sabrina has her own Sabrina psychic phone in an episode that she uses as her phone.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Sabrina uses her own merch in universe.
Gotta push that product. We also find out that tonight's ABC movie presentation is brought to you by Friskies. We get several Friskies commercials for especially the dental food that seems to be debuting right now.
Oh, I also saw a commercial later on about how Domino's created the first warming bag for delivery. They're like, new invention. Our bag keeps your pizza warm while it's being delivered to you. And I was like, wow. Travis and Paul get back to a very messy apartment and both start to hint at their suspicions about Sabrina. They realize they saw the same thing. Travis proposes they sell the story for money and calls her a witch.
Say what you will about these boys.
I have a lot to say about them, don't worry.
But at least they catch on a lot quicker than everyone else in Sabrina's life in America.
Harvey, Mr. Poole, Mr. Kraft, Valerie,
It's quick.
Jenny. Libby. Well, Libby kind of knows. I think Libby can't bring herself to put the word witch to it.
One time she did put the word witch to it. Went really bad.
Yeah.
He has trauma.
They meet with their boss to sell the story, but he isn't buying it. Travis offers to get him proof, and they negotiate to $250,000 for it. Boss gets a call and leaves, and Travis and Paul think about how to get the proof. Paul is going to spend time with Sabrina while Travis watches them. Gwen spots Paul across the street from their house waiting for Sabrina. Sabrina rationalizes her decision to go with him rather than looking for answers to the locket. She and Gwen start trying to decide on an outfit, with Sabrina zapping on different options. As she leaves, Salem stops her with both him and the guinea pig lecturing her. She offers them to get in her bag to keep an eye on things. Sabrina greets Paul and he gives her a flower, and we have some weird music in the background that does not fit the scene. She accepts his offer to get her breakfast, and they take off with Travis following close behind. They ride through the city on Paul's motorcycle, and Lizzie McGuire did this scene 1,000 times better.
Hell yeah.
Travis follows them everywhere with a camera, and not sneakily. He's pretty obvious. Paul and Sabrina arrive at a cafe for breakfast. They commiserate on the fluff pieces they have to do, both photos and articles, in order to do the things that really matter to them. Salem sneaks out of Sabrina's bag to beg for food from an American tourist couple, while the guinea pig crawls up the table and sits in the food. Sabrina runs off to get the animals as they eat at the now empty table. Travis tells Paul to stop messing around while Sabrina is gone. Sabrina and Paul make plans to see each other again when he drops her off to meet Gwen and Alberto. Gwen, Alberto, and Sabrina search through a lot of records to find anything about the locket.
I'm guessing alphabetizing is a recent invention, Salem says, in his cute little research glasses.
He is old enough to have been alive during the time that Sophia was around. What?
Do we know Salem's age? We know the ants.
I don't think we know his exact age, but he's definitely made remarks about hanging out with historical figures, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know anything. This is the first Sabrina thing I've ever seen, so all of this makes sense to me. Imagine. So, Wonderful World of Disney. This is a Sunday night. You're with your family. You're watching this, and you're a kid, and you're like, hey, I love this story. It's amazing. I'm going to tune in on Friday to find out more about this girl. And it is a completely different show than what you've been set up for.
Yep.
Gwen finds something in Italian and Alberto reads it. It's Sophie's address. Gwen and Sabrina take Alberto's scooter to go there while Travis and Paul follow behind them. Gwen loses the map, so Sabrina zaps the scooter to take them there.
And they're casually letting what looks like a very ancient historical map just float away. Like, Sabrina, you're so good at spells. Spell that into your bag. Do not let history just get crumpled on that Italian highway.
It's Italy. They have thousands of ancient maps floating around. What's one more? They speed off and Paul and Travis struggle to keep up. Sabrina and Gwen are about to run into a wall, but Sabrina zaps it, causing it to disappear. It reappears behind them, forcing Paul and Travis to crash. And somehow, that's the one thing Travis didn't manage to record. Sabrina and Gwen arrive at the very old house, but Gwen doesn't want to go in. So Sabrina sends Salem in first to check it out. Gwen and Sabrina follow carefully behind him. Doors start slamming and Gwen screams, but no one is there. The house is falling apart. Sabrina walks past a mirror and her reflection is wearing Renaissance clothes, but when she looks again, it's normal. Sabrina wipes some dust off the mantle and casts a spell to restore the house to what it used to look like.
Soot and grime, dust of time, take us back to the scene of the crime. And Gwen says wicked in a very Ron Weasley-ish way. And anytime Sabrina's gonna cast magic, Gwen's gonna say wicked every single time.
Also, this girl 6 months ago couldn't figure out how to transport herself from place to place. We're now supposed to believe she has like an encyclopedic knowledge of obscure spells.
Yeah.
She was hitting the books hard this summer.
This is the only spell she's actually gonna say, like, formally. Maybe it's large spells that have to rhyme.
Zapping away a wall is not a large spell.
I guess not.
I'm so angry at this movie. I'm very concerned because we have one more, which is Sabrina Down Under, and I can remember nothing about that movie either, and I'm very worried now. I think there might be mermaids, but I can't remember.
Ooh, crikey.
Anyway, Sabrina and Gwen walk into another room and find a glowing portrait of Sophia, but it's apparently not a real picture, and they need to go find the real one somewhere.
Ads right after the scene. We have tidy cats, and then Walmart is turning 36 years old in 1998.
That's a weird number to celebrate.
I don't know, but they're having a special 36-year anniversary sale.
The next day, Sabrina and Gwen go shopping while looking for the portrait. We get a shopping montage. At the end, Gwen wonders if these clothes will help Alberto notice her, but Sabrina says it's not the clothes that matter, even though she bought new clothes to wear to see Paul. And then she says, but you know how visual guys are. Paul is taking some artsy photos, which makes Travis upset. I think it was just like an old man leaning over some flowers. It was real weird. Sabrina, Gwen, and Alberto arrive to meet them. Travis excuses himself to go work, while Gwen tries to take Alberto off to spend time together, but he's more interested in looking at some flowers in the planter. Like, boy is crouched down, poking in that planter, real interested in those plants. Gwen casts a spell to make him love her, but she turns him into a pigeon. And then she doesn't even bother looking for him and just leaves with Sabrina and Paul.
This is where I asked if they even bother to get their witch's license in England, because she should not have passed at all if that's the case. Also, she should just probably not do magic. Like, take that away from her. She is a liability to society.
She's also a full witch. We can extrapolate from some other things she says that she's a full witch. I mean, I'll get into their ages later and how the ages kind of are creepy. Maybe she's, she hasn't turned 17, so she hasn't had to do her witch's license yet. She's still 16. Maybe she cheated on her quizzes. Maybe she had a crappy quiz master. I don't know. That night, Gwen is slamming down jelly beans when she hears Senora G calling for Alberto. Of course, Alberto isn't there. So Gwen gets Sabrina, who uses magic to make her voice sound like Alberto's, and says he's sleeping. And for some reason, he and his mother are speaking English to each other, even though we've established that Alberto's not very good at English. Sabrina asks Gwen where she sent Alberto. The guinea pig suggests Greenland.
Seems like she's always sending people to Greenland based on the guinea pig's remarks.
Gwen struggles to remember the spell, and Sabrina breaks the news that he's now a pigeon, and Gwen has to kiss him to turn him back. Gwen spots some pigeons in the flower box and starts kissing them to try and find Alberto.
Figures, my first kiss, and it's with a pigeon. On the lips, she asks, and Sabrina queries, do pigeons have lips?
If it's her first kiss, I'm more comfortable saying maybe she's still 16. The next morning, Sabrina sees Paul from her balcony, and he's creepily taking pictures of her. Montage of Paul and Sabrina exploring Rome, while Gwen kisses pigeons. I did like this part. People start copying Gwen and also kiss pigeons, other tourists. That was fun. Meanwhile, Travis follows behind Paul and Sabrina. They get back to Paul's car, and it has a flat tire. Travis is watching, and he and Paul give each other a thumbs up. But Sabrina sneakily zaps some canned air into her bag and hands it to Paul to inflate the tire. Travis is frustrated.
Girl Scout, you should see my notch, she tells Paul. Also, what happened to the motorcycle? They've established these are like two poor journalist men people. I doubt they're wealthy enough for two vehicles, and suddenly there's a car in the mix. We don't see the motorcycle ever again, actually. Do we?
No, we do. We do.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure we do. It seems like Paul is usually with the motorcycle and Travis is usually with the car. And so I'm wondering if Travis lent them the car specifically for this purpose, although you could still do the same thing with a motorcycle. So why it was the car, I don't know. Sabrina is searching through more books while Crush by Jennifer Page plays, and we get another montage. Later, she and Gwen are walking down the street when Travis pays off a driver to splash dirt onto them. Sabrina zaps their clothes clean, but Travis's lens also got too dirty to capture it. There's more studying in her room. Salem and the guinea pig play checkers. She spends more time with Paul. The number of roses in her vase keeps growing. Travis and Paul are following Sabrina and Gwen. Travis is frustrated because they've gotten nothing, and it's been over a week. Sabrina stares into a very scummy and dirty fountain and wonders where Sophia is. Paul comes up to her and asks what she's thinking about.
If I tell you, then I'd have to kill you, and then I'd have to deal with the body, and that can get messy. But Sabrina, in another world, alternate universe, you have Hilda, who can help you with that. Bodies are no issue, I feel like.
She doesn't even say Hilda or Zelda's names, or like my aunts. There's no reference to the aunts in this. And yet we get a letter from her father, whom we have not seen since season 1. I don't think we've heard anything from Ted in season 2.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He wasn't even referenced in the episode about who their mother's favorite child is. And we got Vesta referenced. Maybe Sophia was the favorite. Sabrina won't tell him, but he says she can trust him. She decides to tell him she's looking for a portrait, and he gets an idea. He's like, I've never heard of that artist. And she's like, yeah, nobody's ever heard of him. And he's like, not nobody. And then he's like, they go to an art museum, and he's like, here's this painting from that same artist. Okay, you didn't know who he was 5 seconds ago, but now you know where to go to find this dude. Sure. They start to look for the portrait that she's looking for. Travis and Paul leave Sabrina and Gwen. Gwen tries to grab the fruit out of the painting, Girl Y, and gets her hand stuck. Sabrina and Gwen both zap themselves into the painting to fix it. Sabrina zaps them out, and the painting now shows a bite taken out of the apple. Sabrina and Gwen find Paul standing in front of the portrait of Sophia in another gallery, but Sabrina still can't open the locket. Sabrina and Gwen are talking about the portrait. Sabrina thinks Sophia was trying to tell her something. Salem chastises her for telling Paul about the portrait and locket. Paul and Travis wonder if Sabrina is actually 500 years old because the painting looked like her. The four of them are eating at a cafe, and Gwen continues to try kissing pigeons. Gwen runs off to kiss more, and Sabrina goes after her. Both Salem and the guinea pig also leave to find food. Paul takes pictures of Sabrina and Gwen, and Travis confronts him about falling for Sabrina. There's a pigeon sitting on the chair next to them who starts attacking Paul and poops on his head. Meanwhile, Salem pushes the guinea pig onto a pizza that gets delivered to a table, causing a commotion and bringing Sabrina and Gwen back to the restaurant.
The waiter says 1 pizza with everything, but before there was the guinea pig, it was just cheese and non-sliced olives. That's everything at this cafe.
Italians are purists about their pizza. Maybe that is an everything pizza for an Italian. Travis has a new plan to run Paul over with his car to see if Sabrina will save him. Paul doesn't like it, but Travis hands him the camera and tells him where to be. If she's an all-powerful, potentially immortal witch, they're putting a lot of faith in Paul's ability to be charming and win this potentially hundreds of years woman over.
Yeah.
They're clearly not the brightest bulbs. Sabrina and Paul are walking and talking about Paul's backstory while he takes creepy pictures of strangers on the street.
Turns out Paul's not Irish like he thought. He's Italian.
Shocking. But was he born in the States? Did he get shipped there from Italy? I blocked out that part because I didn't care about his backstory.
He was orphaned at 2, and then he was taken in, so maybe he was shipped from Italy at 2, and his family didn't care about the 2-year-old, but will care about adult him later on.
There's going to be a later scene where I'm like, this does not seem like this would have happened, but okay. Paul has Sabrina stand by some flowers while he films her as Travis comes driving towards them. Before Sabrina can use her magic, Paul grabs her and pulls her out of the way. He takes her away before she can see it was Travis driving, despite the fact that it's in the car that she was just in. Paul takes her to overlook some ancient Roman ruins, and they snuggle. Sabrina and Paul are eating dinner and kissing while Salem and the guinea pig eat at Senora G's table, and Gwen keeps kissing pigeons on the balcony. Sabrina and Paul make out at the front door of the house. Sabrina returns to her and Gwen's room and tries to think again how to open the locket.
Salem bemoans, I'm never going to eat again. What? No doggy bag? And with the amount of food Salem eats, at least we have continuity between what we've watched in the seasons to this movie there. But is Salem bulimic?
I think we've had a similar conversation, not about bulimia, but about his digestive system and like which processes / organs remain human and which remain cat. Because I think we had the same conversation about a liver and if it'd be able to process alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Some definite binge eating tendencies at the very least.
I mean, cats have a fast metabolism. Gwen, Sabrina, and Salem return to the portrait of Sophia, and Salem warns Sabrina about going through it. She agrees to be cautious, but still goes in anyway. Sabrina falls through the portrait to land in a fancy house dressed in Renaissance clothes, but her locket is missing. There's a party and people are dancing. She spots Sophia and Roberto. Sabrina sneaks up to Sophia and pulls her to a quiet room to talk. Sophia knows Sabrina is there because of Roberto. Sophia is happy that Sabrina can tell her family that she and Roberto work out. Her family is trying to get her to marry Lorenzo. Did we get any indication that Hilda and Zelda are Italian?
No.
Okay. Sophia runs off to grab her family, leaving Sabrina alone where she overhears a conversation and Lorenzo giving someone money. She knocks over a suit of armor and Lorenzo comes in, mistaking her for Sophia. Sabrina tries to leave, but runs into Roberto, who knows she's not Sophia. And Roberto, aka Robert, has a very American-sounding accent. Everybody else is trying to do Italian. Well, I guess except for Sophia, too. But Robert's very American. He leaves to find Sophia, and Sabrina does more snooping. She hears Roberto's best friend trying to convince him to call off the wedding. His friend is going to publicly accuse Sophia of being a witch tomorrow.
We learn that Sophia also has been seen floating 3 feet above her bed, just like Sabrina.
I do like how Roberto says, well, she's just a light sleeper. Best line of the whole movie. Shut it down. Roberto tries to reason with him and admits that Sophia is a witch just as she walks in the room with Lorenzo. Sophia can't believe he would betray her. And then Sophia just forgives him, but she is going to be stripped of her powers and cast out unless she turns Roberto into stone in the next 12 hours. That was the weirdest. You betrayed me. It's not what I mean. Okay, I forgive you. Sabrina watches all of this and tries to stop from interfering, but can't help herself. She comes out and tells Sophia exactly what she saw. Sophia yells at Lorenzo and says she will turn over her powers before disappearing into her locket. Sabrina yells at Roberto to run as they are chased by guards, leaving Lorenzo to pick up the locket. Sabrina sends Roberto on while she stays behind. We get a fight scene between her and the guards, and I wrote in my notes, I hope we get more sword facts.
We do have some sword facts.
Sword facts.
The main fact is, shockingly, those swords are not accurate for the time. You would have thought.
It looked like they're made out of aluminum foil.
They were bottom of the bucket prop swords from the prop closet. So, the predominant sword at this time in the Italian Renaissance would still be the rapier or the spada da lato, which is a side sword considered a continuation of the medieval knightly sword. However, despite a continuation of that medieval knightly sword, the hilt and the handguard should appear somewhat similar to a rapier, which these prop swords did not. These prop swords looked like a version of a medieval short or long sword. Now, at the time, there was the storta that would probably be closest to what they're using in this scene. However, the storta tended to have a slight curve to the blade, and it had arched quillions on the crossguard. And these swords are your basic bitch blade, crossguard, pommel, no fancy Italian layer to them.
These are from A Spirit Halloween.
Yep. Spirit Halloween of swords. And that is your sword facts.
Sword facts. Thank you for the sword facts. Love our sword facts. I can't believe this is the one thing they got wrong in this whole movie.
Right? Everything else was so accurate.
So accurate.
But those swords.
I thought about looking into the outfits to see if they were time appropriate. And I was like, they're not going to be. Why am I wasting my time? Sabrina gets backed into a corner in front of Sophia's portrait. She zaps it to fall onto her, sending her back to the present. Gwen, Salem, and Sabrina are back at the house and examining the locket again, and also talking about dating mortals, which Sabrina has experience there. She should be able to talk about this. Senora G interrupts them to ask if they've seen Alberto. She then shoos off the pigeons on the balcony. She leaves, and Gwen again tries kissing the pigeons that are still on the balcony, but no luck.
And Salty Salem says, I can't believe you traveled back 400 years in time and you didn't even bring me a t-shirt.
Paul and Travis are arguing about Sabrina. Paul has like black and white photos of Sabrina tucked into his mirror. It has been like 10 days. Everybody needs to calm down. It took Sabrina 6 months to kiss Harvey the first time. Yeah, also, why is this dude not turning into a frog?
Oh yeah, a frog. Maybe that purports the theory that frog is only the first kiss.
Once you've kissed one mortal, now all mortals are free game.
Yep.
Kiss them all.
If everyone turned into a frog, that's how you get a plague of frogs.
Well, I guess there's also a 50-50 chance that he would turn into a frog. So maybe he just got the right coin flip this time.
Was Moses a witch? And that's how he made the plague of frogs?
knows this is a witch from the Sabrina universe. Paul can't stand lying to this girl that he's deeply in love with after 10 whole days, but he also needs that money. Maybe he should just come clean. Paul storms out and Travis says he's going to handle this his way, which I would not be threatened by the dude who had food in his goatee when we first met him. Sabrina is getting ready for her date with Paul, but feels guilty because she still hasn't opened the locket, which is the entire reason she's in Rome. She goes down to meet Paul and they take off with Travis following close behind, and he is like seriously right behind them. They're on Paul's motorcycle and Paul doesn't notice that his best friend is in a car 10 feet behind them. Sabrina and Paul are out dancing with Travis, watching from a distance.
All I could focus on in the scene is that they are way overdressed compared to these other group of people who are in their t-shirts and jeans.
Melissa Joan Hart's definitely trying to dress more mature in this than she has been in Sabrina. Like, a lot of her outfits are more like that yellow dress she had on was like, had the cutouts and was like a little more revealing. And she's trying to be like, I'm an adult woman. And I'm like, but you're playing a teenage child. Gwen is still kissing pigeons. There's a particularly aggressive one. She kisses it and it turns into Alberto. But he needs to find Sabrina. And Gwen's upset about that because she thinks Sabrina's honing in on her pigeon man. But Sabrina is in trouble. He tells Gwen what he overheard. Gwen has to zap them to Sabrina, but she ends up sending them to a snow globe.
Salem tries to warn them beforehand by saying, I highly recommend taking a cab. Gwen doesn't listen.
And I guess that snow globe is not made out of the kind of plastic that magic can't penetrate. Whatever that number of plastic was, I don't remember. Sabrina and Paul are back at Trevi Fountain, and they make more wishes.
Paul throws that coin over the wrong shoulder and is doomed now.
Paul starts to tell her the truth, but she stops him and uses her magic to grant his wish, zapping him to his Italian biological family, where it's somehow daytime, and she will do this for a boy that she's known for less than 2 weeks, but she will not tell Harvey. What the crap, Sabrina? What the crap? Harvey, who has told you repeatedly that he would stay by you, even if you were a witch, even if you're weird, even if you had a secret, he wouldn't care. He'd be there for you.
Excuse me, I have a sticky note somewhere saying to remember that season 3 or season 4, Harvey is a dick.
That is season 4, Harvey. We're not talking about season 4, we're talking about season 2, Harvey. Season 2, Harvey offered to pre-chew her food when she didn't have teeth. Oh, this movie makes me so angry. There are some little kids who just run up to Paul and bring him to join the rest of the family that just automatically embraces him without anyone asking who he is or saying anything about that. He then comes back to thank her and kisses her. They are zapped back to the Trevi Fountain, and I guess Paul's never going to see that family again. And Sabrina tells him he can't ever tell anyone. He promises, but Travis has filmed the whole thing. Sabrina and Paul are walking away when Salem attacks him, and Gwen and Alberto arrive.
Quick, turn him into a yak. Send him to the rings of Saturn, exclaims Salem.
They tell Sabrina what Paul and Travis were up to. Paul tries to defend himself, but does not do a good job. Sabrina stalks away, and Gwen tries to turn Paul into a goat, but gets Alberto instead. A kiss also doesn't turn him back this time. She takes Alberto to figure out how to fix it, and Travis comes up to Paul excited. He got everything. Paul is not happy about it. Salem tells Sabrina she has to turn Paul into a pile of stone as she packs up her clothes, but she can't. He might not betray her.
So he spends 400 years as a pile of rubble. He deserves it. You'll lose your powers and I'll lose my meal ticket, exclaims Salem.
He is Hilda's problem, not Sabrina's. Gwen and a human again, Alberto, have a moment in the hallway, and Alberto asks her out.
You have to ask yourself, why does this guy want to date Gwen, considering all this magical trauma she has put him through? And when he asks her to go out, he says, would you do me a favor of going out with me sometime? And then it has to clarify, when I'm a boy, not a pigeon or a goat.
How old is Alberto?
At least 20s.
So, this is where I was like, wait, Sabrina's 17. Gwen is probably the same-ish, or maybe 16, as we've discussed. Paul is a guy with a full adult job, out of college adult job. And Alberto looks like he's 35. I'm uncomfortable with all of the romances in this movie. Sabrina is in high school. She wants an Italian summer romance. Find a 17-year-old boy, not a dude who works for a sleazy tabloid because he can't pay rent. We're almost there. We're so close. Sabrina says goodbye to Alberto and Gwen. Senora G comes out to tell Sabrina to turn Paul into stone, but Gwen freezes her. I don't know why. That seems kind of rude. Sabrina gets into the taxi, but flashes back to all the time she spent with Paul over the past 2 weeks. It has been 2 weeks. This should have been like 3 months of the summer project. It should not have been 2 weeks.
And Gwen freezes Senora G to stop her from telling Sabrina about turning Paul into stones. But then the final moments of that scene, she's unfrozen and they're all just waving goodbye. And she just doesn't care anymore. She was trying to warn Sabrina about the stone.
Good luck with your terrible life choices, Sabrina. You're out of my hands now. Go back to your maybe aunts. They can deal with you. Who's she gonna live with? I guess she moves to Peru to live with her mother. She's cast out of the family and loses her powers. You've been to Peru, Sabrina. You saw what it was like. You didn't enjoy it. You came back.
Assuming her mother exists.
What, her mother's not stone.
No.
Well, I guess her mother didn't betray Ted. So even though it sounds like their divorce was pretty not amicable.
Yeah, but there's all this talk of like, ooh, don't date mortals, blah, 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 blah. And she's never like, well, my parents were able to get married. Or like, I exist. Mortals are okay.
Granted, the marriage didn't last.
Still, it happened.
Sounds like it was more because they had like issues rather than magic stuff, but you know. Sabrina stops the taxi when they're by the Trevi Fountain, and Salem again tells her she's almost out of time and she needs to cast the spell. Instead, Sabrina tells the taxi to go back to the art museum. Sabrina returns to the portrait and talks to Sophia about the choice she made. Paul shows up with all the destroyed film. The locket then opens, and Sophia's image appears. Ghost Sophia? Hologram Sophia? Magic spirit Sophia? I don't know. That doesn't get answered. She's free because Sabrina led with her heart, not her magic. And then the Sophia sparkles return to the painting, and Paul puts the locket on Sabrina.
Is she corporeal anymore? Who knows? But maybe, Ted lives in a book, so maybe it's just a Spellman thing. Sophia lives in a portrait, Ted lives in a book, and these are the only two Spellman siblings we know of in this movie.
I am going to offer you a theory.
Okay.
Because it's not real clear. Like, does Sophia become mortal when she goes into the locket? Like, has she given up her powers? Because then we find out that Roberto didn't actually betray her. She never had to make that choice. He didn't betray her.
Mm-hmm.
Is the hallucination of Sophia past Sophia? And past Sophia goes back into the past through the portrait, where then she can be reunited with Roberto. They can fix their love story. And now in the present day, Sophia's back and is a present day witch, but Roberto's dead because he's immortal, so she's outlived the love of her life by hundreds of years.
Yeah, I think you're right. She does go back into the past, because when Sabrina goes through the portrait, she's like, oh, no one's visited me from the future before. But then we get into science fiction, don't mess with the timeline, bad stuff there. Like, the instant Sophia goes into that portrait, black screen, none of this could have happened if she's going back into the past.
Or, she's stuck in this time loop where she goes back to the past and it just starts all over again. And she goes back into the locket. She's stuck in this like 30-minute time span.
In that case, maybe Ted has a grudge against her because he's sending Sabrina being like, oh, it has to happen now or else, her essence will basically be lost if it doesn't happen right now. And so by freeing her essence, if she's now stuck, Ted's probably just like, ha.
If she was dead, would it matter if they released her essence? Maybe it's releasing her spirit so she can be at rest? Because then she goes into the painting, and I think the painting changes. Like, her expression in the painting is now smiling, and I think it wasn't before.
Like the Mona Lisa.
I don't understand anything about this movie. We're almost done. I have like 3 more sentences. Let's just end this thing. Sabrina and Paul are walking together when he asks what to do about Travis. Sabrina starts casting spells, turning Travis into different animals as a form of torture to keep him quiet.
And is this like a forever spell?
She keeps zapping. So I think she just does it enough to be like, don't mess with. But also she has long range on her finger.
It's true. But also, I don't know, if I were Travis, that would just make me madder. And I'd be like, no, I am going to tell. I'm sick of you torturing me.
You can't. Sabrina and Paul get to the taxi and kiss goodbye. And Sabrina leaves, this time for real. leaving behind apparently the love of her life that helped unlock her maybe deceased aunt.
Salem says to Paul, "You're just lucky I'm declawed."
He's definitely not.
Whole different discussion of, oh, we're declawing the human cat now?
Number one, torture. Number two, in season 2, he talks about picking her diary with his dew claw. We know this cat is not declawed.
Well, Sabrina declawed him because of all the locket picking, which then severe torture, both to cats and also, like, if he returns as a human, like...
He's like stumps.
Yeah, he just does stumps.
The clawing is not funny, but that thought is. This movie's just terrible from start to finish. Can we watch Holiday in Handcuffs again? That's our episode.
Honestly, I think your audio and internet were acting up this episode because your computer didn't even want to have to go through this episode.
I was going to say it was Sophia's spirit.
Sophia's spirit is in your computer today. Ooh, spooky.
Oh. Okay, well, we're not going to do a next episode guess because I don't know what the next episode is, and I think we've already covered all the ones that are coming up. I mean, guess what you think Sabrina Down Under is going to be about, Sky, and we'll see if you're right in a season.
Why does she need to go down under?
Why did she need to go to Rome for something that didn't actually seem like it solved anything? All right, well, thank you for joining us for this episode. And if you made it to the end, give yourself a pat on the back. You did it. Please like, share, rate, and subscribe to this podcast, but maybe don't share this episode. Pick a different one. Don't start people off with this one. You can email us at somethingwitchypod@gmail.com if you have thoughts about this movie. And you can follow us on Instagram at somethingwitchypod and TikTok at something.witchy.pod. Until next time,
stay magical.